I am so glad that you are here. Thank you for joining us today. First off, I want to send a shout out to my proud sponsor, which is myself. The B. Anderson collection, my lipstick collection, has been a proud sponsor of this bold conversation. Why would you not want to be bold, fierce while wearing a bold lip? I want you to live life, be colorful, and be you as you walk into this new era of your life of bold lipstick. So, anyways, I am so glad that you are here. I am super excited about my special guest here today, which is Renea Hunter. I have spoken to Renea a couple of times. There was a conference that she was building out, and we're actually a part of the same speaker coach. Shout out to Dr. G out there in these streets, these speaker streets, as she would say. And me and Renea came very acquainted throughout some type of coaching session that we had. And from there, I just love all the things that she was doing. And then from there, we connected in other ways and other avenues. And then from there, I was like, listen, you got to be on my show. This is amazing. Like, I love what you're talking about and some of the conversation that we had prior to. And I said, we got to bring it to the forefront. We got to bring it to the live audience to talk about. As y'all saw in my post, let's talk about sex, baby, and all the things. So Renea has been in the game for about 15 years. And, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, Renea, and this is kind of us having like girl talk, like we're going out to lunch and we talking like,
Right.
so first off, Renea, like introduce yourself, tell the world about you, but then I want you to tell me why, why sex therapy? Like what made you want to be a sex therapist?
A sex therapist. Okay.
Yes.
All right. All right. Well, let's start with who I am. I'm Renea Hunter. I'm a licensed professional counselor and a certified sex therapist, and also a speaker. So I do some speaking things as well. And so I've been doing, like you say, about it's probably more than 15, but I just say 15. That sounds
Okay.
like a good number.
That's a
So
good
probably
number.
close. It's a good number. So it's 15 plus years of me doing therapy, working with families, couples, mostly women, I would say. And
Mm.
so I've been doing this for a while. My hometown is Rockford, Illinois, and I'm living down here in the Dallas Fort Worth area now. Shout out to Rockford. And so let's see, what else? What else about me? That's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Okay.
But when it comes to like why sex therapy, it's like, why not? I mean, sex is interesting. I mean, sex is interesting. Sex is fun. Sex is all those things. But honestly, I got interested in it. Real quick, short story
Yeah.
from when I was in grad school. And I took a course. I needed one more course to take. And it just so happened to be intro to sex counseling or something like that. And they only offered it every other year. And it just so happened to fall on the year that I was there,
Yeah.
my last semester. So I took the course. The course was very interesting. And from there, in that course, it's like, dang, I want to do more of this. And so it took a while for me to actually finally become certified in sex therapy.
Yeah.
But just going through the years of doing my therapy and meeting with other people, I just found that it was something that was needed. We weren't talking about it. I came across a lot of women who were struggling with sexual desire,
Yeah.
trying to communicate their wants and needs, and all those types of things. And they just never talked about it. And so from there, it just branched out. And I decided, you know what? I could talk about this. Let me go ahead and make it my specialty and encourage more women to talk about it because that was just my passion of encouragement. I mean, if you don't say what you want, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. Oh my
So,
gosh.
yeah,
So much
yeah,
in there. Let's dig
yes,
in because, honey, I am
yeah.
here for it. So, you spoke about that, part of the reason why you got into sex therapy is that, what intrigued you is that a lot of women weren't talking about it. Is it a particular race? Is it black women? Is it white women? Is it women
Mhm,
across the board? Like, what were they not
mhm,
saying? How did you know that women just weren't
mhm.
feeling weren't talking about sex? And why do you think that we feel uncomfortable with
Mhm.
talking about sex?
Okay. Yeah. So I would say across the board, women weren't talking about it, just across the board.
Yeah.
However, most of my clientele were Black women, and a lot of them were not talking about it. And it could have ranged from anything as far as how they were raised, some of
Mm,
the taboos that they learned about or were taught about when they were growing up,
yeah.
um, religious background, their beliefs, and how things were instilled into them about don't do it. It's a sin. You're going to go to hell. Bam.
Talking about sex.
So talk about sex
Wow.
or wanting to even do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've heard so many different things. And so that is pretty much it. Just, yeah, it was just so much. And for me, I would say a lot of the women weren't talking about it also because they wanted to, let's say, can we have some transparency?
Yeah.
Is that
Like, let's
okay?
do this. This is bold conversation. Like, yes.
Bold conversations, yes. So I'll say for me, for example,
Yeah.
I was not one to talk about sex
Yeah.
too much. So, but I knew all about sex, but just didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
And so when I was in a relationship, just to kind of say that I was in this relationship with this guy,
Yeah.
and things just became boring.
Yeah.
Okay, everything was good, sex was great until it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And so it was more of I want to do something different.
Hmm.
And so I did try to do some different things. So I
Yeah.
had my glitter and my little razzle dazzle on
Yeah.
things, but he didn't like my razzle dazzle. So he basically said that I was a freak. And the way that he said it
Mm.
was kind of shame based.
Yeah.
So that kind of pulled me back from doing anything else, that any kind of glitter or razzle dazzle that I wanted to pull out.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it because of that shame, that how he made me feel.
Yeah.
So shame is another thing that would keep women from expressing themselves or even talking about it.
Because
So
you end up, so you get with this guy, and this is just talking in general, you get with a guy
yeah.
and then you expose this side of you,
Hmm.
this freakiness, this sensual sexual person.
Hmm.
And while y'all are
Hmm.
dating, or even not like just saying you were dating, like courting each other, all the different things,
Yeah.
sex comes into play, because as a
Hmm.
woman you're like, I want to know, like, what can you do, like what you gonna
Yeah.
do. And
With
so
how that
in
thing works.
that,
Yeah.
it typically, I've looked up like sex type of like positions and motions and
Hmm.
things like that. And like missionary is like a core one, like a main
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
because of that, that's very traditional. And then when you start to
Hmm.
get outside of these boxes, like I'm thinking like 50 Shades of Gray. Like I
Oh
like
yeah.
50
Yeah.
Shades of Gray. But
Hmm.
like, when you start exploring that, what do you think it does to a man, like when they receive that from the woman? Like this woman is taking it to the next level, and they
Hmm.
like, and there's some who appreciate it. They be like, yes, this is what I've been
Yeah.
talking about.
Mhm.
But what
It
is
just
it that a guy goes through when they do discover, like, whoa, whoa,
yeah. Yeah. I can only speak from personal experience, but I would
yeah,
say that communication is important.
yeah,
So that communication, and like even for me, like I say, what my little razzle dazzle, thinking back to that razzle dazzle wasn't
it wasn't
anything,
even razzling
but
dazzling.
it wasn't. But for him,
Yeah,
it was like, whoa, what
yeah.
you doing? Where did you learn this from? Like, what you mean? Where it's me?
Um,
Where did this come from?
mm.
Who taught you this?
Oh my gosh, that's so
It's
good.
I taught myself this. It's just I haven't. I felt comfortable at this moment
Yeah,
to sprinkle it around, and you're like, whoa. So it's like that can happen, that they would just back off. But then years moving forward, some years, just kind of fast
yeah,
forward, the next person that I get with,
yeah,
I bring up my little razzle dazzle. And
yeah,
I, like I say, my razzle dazzle wasn't too much of razzle dazzle because
yeah.
he had his own type of razzle dazzle that blew my wig back. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. What are you doing? I'm here for it though. I'm here for it. And
Yeah.
so the whole thing of it is, it's like, and I talk about this whole thing about it's not freaky, it's freedom. So it's like
Mm.
shameless plug there, but it's not
Yeah.
freaky, it's freedom. And so for me, it's more of a be free to do those things that you want to do. And so
Yeah.
that's why I encourage women to speak on those things, to empower them so that they can say those things and be free.
Yeah.
And when I say be free, I'm not saying go out there and just tell everybody all your business.
Yeah.
No, it's the one that you're with or the two
Yeah.
that you're, however many that you're with, that you feel comfortable enough to do those things with and that
Yeah.
you can express that. So, but yeah, it just takes some
So let's
communication.
talk about being free. Freaky is being free. Like, what
Yeah.
does that mean in the
Mhm.
context of, and I guess it would be different depending on if you're single, depending on if you're married. Like,
Mhm.
what does that mean when
Yeah,
it's not freaky, it's freedom? Like, what does that
it's freedom.
mean?
That basically means that whatever you choose to do, it is not freaky
Yeah.
in the negative sense.
Yeah.
Because, like I say, from my experience, when I was told stop, basically, he said, stop, what are you doing? You are a
Yeah.
freak.
Yeah.
And the way he said that,
Yeah.
freak did not have anything positive coming behind
Right.
that.
Right.
And so for me, that freakiness at that time meant something disgusting or something
Mm.
nasty.
Mhm. Mhm.
Years later, it became more of a positive because the next man that said you're a freak, he said it in a way that made me want to do more of
Yeah.
some of those things that I want to do and to explore more.
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's not freaky, it's the freedom to do what it is that you want to do,
So let's
whatever those things that you desire.
let's talk a little bit about that for
Mhm.
people who are couples or are in a
Mhm.
relationship, not just marriage, just couples in general.
Mhm.
If they started out in such a way and then eventually these discoveries start to come about. And to your point, the other person is like, "Whoa, who you
Mhm.
been? Where this come from?"
Yeah.
Where does that come from? Because that is a natural response. Like, all of a sudden now you want this change and we haven't been doing this, and now you're introducing this to me and I never seen this side of you. What, like, wait a
Mhm.
minute, like, pause, like, where does this come from? So, like,
Yeah.
thinking about the couple who may be dealing with that, like, how
Mhm.
do you help couples, like, discover, uncover, and find freedom in that space and not feel like that the person is not poking a hole at an insecurity. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
how do you help them uncover that? And
Yeah. One of the things I do with couples, and I said, yeah, for couples, it's the same way. So I see couples and single people. So,
yeah.
and some of the exercises can be used for both of them.
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to communication because my whole thing is you'll hear me. I swear my clients probably get tired of me saying that, but it's about
Yeah.
communication and comprehension too. So it's like you could talk all day, but make sure that they understand what you're talking about
Yeah.
and that you understand that they understand. A simple exercise like let's say there may be some things that you want to try, but you have not said anything about them yet
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Maybe you don't feel comfortable enough to do it just yet, or you're not sure how your spouse or your partner is going to react.
Yeah.
So, just a simple exercise I have couples do is to make a list of things
Yeah.
that 3 columns, things that you want to do, things that you don't really like, and things that you want to try to do or
Mm.
have thought about trying.
Okay.
And so I have them to make that list, but don't share it right away. I
Okay.
tell them to wait. Don't share it until they come back into a session with me.
Okay.
And then that's when I have them to share it. And so I have them to share it. I said, don't read it out loud because it ain't
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't read
Yeah.
to me what it is.
Yeah.
Just swap and then read. And to see sometimes the hesitation.
Yeah.
It's
Mm.
like, whoa, ow, oh, I'm supposed to give this to them? Yeah, switch.
Yeah.
And so when they switch, there's some anxieties about that.
Yeah.
And we talk about that in session. But as they're reading through it, it's like, oh, I didn't know you like that.
Yeah.
Hmm, okay, I didn't know that side of you.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Oh, so you don't like when I touch you that way. Why
Mm.
didn't you why didn't you tell me that? Why
Yeah.
didn't you tell me? And it's like, well, I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Right. Right.
But then I say, well, think about it. You're hurting them more by not even telling them
Yeah.
that they're hurting you or they're causing some type of discomfort.
Yeah.
And the whole thing is about pleasure. So talk about it. And so just doing that simple exercise, what
Yeah.
I want to do, what I don't like doing, and what I want to do one day, or
Yeah.
what I dream about, what I fantasize about, and then share it. And from that, I tell them, okay, you got that information. Now go start exploring.
Right.
Go on that third column and work your way through those.
Yeah.
And so if that just means talking about it, then just talk about it.
Yeah.
If that means watching or reading about it, getting more information about it,
Yeah.
doing some research about it, because it just depends on what's in that last column.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It just depends. And so that is one of the things that I put out there for them, and it works pretty well. And I just get a kick out of it when they see things that they didn't know before. So,
So,
yeah.
what are some other exercises that you would want that you give to couples? So, I know that that's a really good one, and it's almost like it reminds me of like back in the '90s when you liked a guy and you sent him a little note and you're like, "Do you like me?
Yeah.
Yes or no?" and all those things. So it brings this
Hmm.
mystery about it, but
Oh,
because you've
yeah.
been with someone for so long, you can feel like, am I going to, it could be questions of like, will I be able to give them that? You know what I mean? Like, do you have that sometimes in those conversations with the couples? Like,
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Or
Hmm.
this is a woman's perspective for all transparency. I'm not big enough for that. I'm not going to be able to do those things. Like, how do
Hmm.
you have that conversation if the opposite sex has like this huge appetite and the other one is just like, oh, I'm kind of okay with my basic stuff. Like,
Hmm.
I'm good.
Hmm. And and that is totally okay. And I say that because again, you have to find out if you're okay with it. If you're okay with just what they call vanilla,
Yeah.
so if you're just okay with just doing I'll say the basics, you're not wanting to explore
Yeah.
things, but then you find out that your partner is like, whoa, they want to do all the things. All you want to do what? You want to put me where?
In a
Put my
chain
leg
with
where?
balls.
Right.
What?
Yeah, yeah, you want to do all these things. You want to tie me up with what? So, okay, take baby steps if
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah.
Just some baby steps. And that's why I say, even if it's just something as far as we just talking about it,
Yeah.
because there may be some things like if you write down some fantasy of some sort,
Yeah. Yeah.
if this is a fantasy,
Yeah.
it could be a fantasy, but you may not want to actually do it,
Yeah.
but you've thought about it. So maybe you can, I always say, modify those things, make it yours and make it fit the way that you want it to fit. So, but that's that. Just make it fit.
So thinking about that, like the enticement and the mystery in it. Let's say that um let's say you're a single person. Let's kind of take a
Mhm.
step back and say that you're a single person. You know this about yourself and you're
Mhm.
really feeling this guy or woman or whatever the case may be, but then all of a sudden y'all introduce sex, this starts to come up. When you think about the singles that you come across, like what are some of the things that they're being challenged with when they think about their
Mhm.
sexuality, the sensations, all maybe the
Mhm.
barriers of their religion, like, but I desire to do these things. Like, what are some exercises or things or conversations that you're having with singles in that regard?
Yes, with single people, I'm trying to think here. Let's say if they're recently dating,
Yeah,
and it's just more so of when do I have sex with this person?
yeah,
So I'll say with women, the women that I work with, it's like, when do I have sex with them? Like I say, you have sex when you're ready. whenever that is.
Yeah.
And I'll hear, well, I want to wait 90 days. Okay, then wait 90 days.
Yeah.
Or then it could be, well, if I do it too soon, would I be considered as a hoe?
Yeah.
I'm like, are we
Period.
still saying hoe these days? Are we still saying
Girl.
that? Well, yeah,
Girl.
but we are.
Yeah.
That is still out there.
Yeah.
That is still out there. It's like that. How are you going to see me? How am I going to be judged?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like judgment piece that's out there as well.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah,
The
the judgment
judgment.
piece. Yes, the judgment. The judgment is out there. The guys I work with, there is more pretty much the same thing. So
Yeah.
they go through the same thing. And it's surprising. Like you might not think that some guys think about if I have sex too quickly, what is this saying about me?
Yeah.
But that has happened. And then some of them just either deal with things like, depending on their age,
Yeah.
am I going to be able to perform?
Yeah. And that's a real,
What's
that's
going
a,
to happen?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I shouldn't even say their age because there's been some younger guys that have performance issues as well. So
Mm.
it's like, am I going to be able to perform? Am I going to be able to make sure she remembers me? So it's
Yeah.
like, am I going to really put it on her and put it
Yeah.
down and all this type of thing? It's like, let her make that decision if you're putting it down or not. Don't worry
Yeah.
about it. Just go in there and enjoy it. And even with women who think they're going to be judged or guys who think they're going to be judged, all that's doing is causing more anxiety. So as the anxiety is there, and it's going to get in the way of the performance anyway.
Yeah. But like,
So yeah.
so thinking about, oh, okay, so we have a comment. As a single woman, I definitely agree. It's more of a comfort level for me. I can date someone for 3 months and still not feel comfortable being intimate with them. And that's very true.
Yeah,
That is
that is
very
true.
true. Because, like,
Hmm.
what I'm, and I guess this is a question and a statement. Like, as a woman, when you are giving yourself away to a man, like the position, like even when you go see your gynecologist, like opening up your legs,
Hmm.
it's so
Oh yeah,
vulnerable. You're
yeah,
like, you're
everything,
seeing all my stuff, like everything from odor to smell to
everything.
juices. Like it's just such an like, oh my gosh. And
Yeah.
so how do you, like, as a single woman, like I'm not single, but like you
Mhm.
think about those
Mhm.
type of things and you're like, I don't know, like I don't do,
Mhm.
how do
Yeah.
you overcome, like how do
It's
you overcome that and what does that look like?
that I would say confidence. You just have to have that confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And me saying that, it's like, okay, Renee, how do I have confidence in
Right,
myself?
right, right, right. That was the
You know,
question. Yeah, 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 yeah.
how do I have confidence in myself?
Yeah.
Basically, I would say affirmations is one thing,
Yeah.
boosting yourself up,
Yeah.
saying those things about yourself. And as far as like with, say, because, I would say when it comes to women's bodies
Yeah.
and how you hear like in the media, how many times, I'm just going to say this,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, like with smell,
Yeah.
how many times do you hear anything, jokes about a man smelling a certain type of way?
Like they penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often do you see, how do you ever hear jokes about that? It's
Yeah.
always women,
It's
fish.
always a woman.
Yeah, it's always a woman. Fish smells, this, that. Oh my gosh. Ooh, this stinks. All this. It's always that.
Hmm.
So when you hear that enough, I'm sure you could have a complex against what's going on down there.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is, there's a natural scent down there.
Yeah.
Fish is not it. If that is not it. If there is a scent like that,
Yeah.
just visit your doctor. Visit
Yeah.
your doctor.
Yeah.
But just being confident and saying these positive things about yourself. If you know that you're taking care of your body, you're taking care of your body.
Yeah.
And it, wow, there's so many things. As you take care of yourself, your body will take care of you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when you get in this relationship and you have this whole thing of not feeling comfortable
Yeah.
because you're not feeling as fresh
Yeah.
when it comes down to engaging in those activities, okay, take a shower before you engage. Shower
Okay.
together
So
before you engage.
it's funny that you're bringing this up because okay, so one of my girlfriends, one of my girlfriends. Okay, so she asked this question on TikTok. So, and
Mhm.
she's gonna be on the show. Hopefully, hopefully she watching this so she can know. Girl, fill out the form. But anyways, she brought up the conversation about put your vagina in the tub. And so there
Mm,
was a lot of comments. Like there was some women who were opposite, who was like, I don't take baths, and other women
mm,
was like, well, I take a bath, and then after I take a bath, I then take a shower. And the
mm,
purpose of that TikTok was because she was like, you need to clean your vagina. It needs to like flush itself out, sit in some water
mm,
and clean it out. So talking
mhm,
about the odor and the smell with that in that regard, like what are
mhm.
your thoughts on that?
I just feel like, look, the vagina itself is it cleanses itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the canal. And I always say the vulva. That's the thing. The vulva I always say is on the outside. The vagina is what's inside.
Yeah.
So the vulva with the lips, the labia majora, labia
Yeah.
minora, and all that, all the lips and things. Clean that.
Okay.
Use whatever products that you feel safe enough. That's check. Some things are irritant,
Yeah.
so it can irritate. So you have to be careful.
Yeah.
What may work for me may not work for you.
Yeah.
So you find out what your body. You know your body.
Yeah.
Clean the outside with that. Now I know there's the what you call it, that steam thing, the yoni steam. People do that with the different
Yeah.
herbs and things, and they get it all steamed up.
Yeah.
I say go for it. Go ahead and try it. Um, how I feel about those things, I don't really know. If it works for you, it works for you.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a good old take a bath, take a shower, whatever it is,
Yeah.
and wash what's on the outside. Inside takes care of itself. Now, by me saying that, there's going to be some people who say, "Oh no, I got to clean the inside," whether it's
Yeah.
by a douche or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever type of thing you may use. Am I going to argue with that? No.
Yeah.
Use what's best for you.
Yeah.
But knowing that it cleanses itself, clean the outside with whatever soap or water that you may use,
Yeah.
or whatever products that you may use, and knock yourself out. So I always say, you know your body better than I do, then you take care of it that way.
So I want to go back. I want to circle back
Mhm.
to the couple. So I'm
Yes.
glad we talked about that. Like vagina
Mhm.
wives. If she listening,
Yes.
listen. You she
Yeah.
said what she said. Um, but I want to talk about like couples. So
Yes.
as we think about like you've gotten married to this person and this person is
Mhm.
growing and evolving from both parties and they're changing, and you were talking about like there's that exercise that you have couples do.
Mhm.
Have you uncovered like the insecurities of both parties, either it be male or female? Like
Mhm.
maybe there's a desire, the guy is like, I want my wife to suck my dick, but wife
Mhm.
is like, I'm not sucking your dick. I'm not doing that. I'm
Mhm.
not putting a penis in my mouth. It ain't just happening.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
how are you like through that? Like how are you helping couples to like beyond that? Because like this male wants this. He's like, I know we've been
Mhm.
married and I know I ain't asked for it, but I do really want it. And
Mhm.
now it's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing in their conversations. Like, so how are you helping the opposite sex, and vice versa? Like male
Mhm.
may want to give to the woman, like, I want to go down on you, I want to put my mouth on your vagina,
Mhm.
but woman is like,
Mhm.
no, I don't like that kind of stuff, I'm good.
Mhm.
But he wants to do that, and maybe vice versa. Woman is just like,
Yeah.
I want you to go down on me. Man is like, nah, I ain't put my lips down there, it's a no for me,
Mhm.
sis, pick somebody else. But you're already in this committed relationship. Like how are you
Mhm.
helping couples like overcome some of those things?
Mhm. Yes, when you said pick somebody else, that has been an option. So
Listen, let's talk about that. Like, what does pick somebody else mean?
that has been options that has come up for some people that, yeah,
So when you think about pick
if it
somebody
comes to that.
else, is it like when you say that, and I know I'm like asking you
Mhm.
like 50 questions all
Yeah,
at one time.
yeah.
But like pick somebody else, is it like, all of a sudden these couples decide that they want to have open relationships, they're still
Mhm.
committed, or something
Mhm.
else. Like, I know there was that first question and now I'm like asking another
Yeah.
one. This is all goodness because I think my viewers want to hear it. It's like the real deal. Like, these are things that people don't ask, and I'm like, ask the question.
Yeah. Ask it. And so when I say bring in somebody else, it happens.
Yeah.
It could be either if a couple wants an open relationship, fine.
Yeah.
It's all, and I say this, when it comes to
Okay.
relationships or when it comes to marriages and things like that, there's a
Yeah.
traditional piece, but each relationship is different.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different definition of what their relationship looks like. So
Yeah.
if it comes a point where he wants to go down on you, but he wants to go down on you and not
Yeah.
somebody else.
Yeah.
So when it comes to that, then figure out some type of compromise. It has
Yeah.
to. There's some. And the thing of it is, it may never happen. That may just be that one thing
Yeah.
that that's it. It may never
Yeah.
happen. So what are you
Yeah.
going to do now? You've been married for however many long years, or you've been
Yeah.
together for however many long years, and you still haven't had a chance to do anything down there for her.
Yeah.
Then you might have to figure out something else
Yeah.
because she's not going to allow that. Or maybe there's a reason why for her. There may
Mm.
be some type of something that's blocking her from taking that next step to even enjoying something like that.
Yeah.
So, or it could just be her preference of never ever. I don't see why that's not where your mouth's supposed to be. Okay,
Yeah.
then talk about that. Where is that coming from? And it's not in a sense of trying to convince them to do those things, but maybe giving you a better understanding as to why not.
Yeah.
Why not? And so that's when the whole sex therapy piece comes into play, is when the
Yeah.
couples come in and they talk about those things. Um, because of all the years that I've been doing this, I've seen how there's something that one person wants to do and the other person doesn't. That can
Mm.
cause some resentment, that can cause
Yeah.
divorces, it could cause
Yeah.
separations, it could cause sleeping in different rooms for the rest of the relationship. It can
Yeah.
really put a wedge there. But the thing is being able to talk about it and get an understanding from both sides
Yeah.
and hopefully maybe come up with some alternative of some sort, whatever
Yeah.
that may be for them. So explaining why do like if it's the guy who wants to go down on her, like why is that so important to you? Why do you have to come down? Why do you want to do that?
Yeah.
Maybe it's understanding that. I want to bring you pleasure. I want
Yeah.
to have a better connection with you.
Yeah.
I want you to feel what I feel when you do
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
All those types of things. I really want to explore your whole entire body.
Yeah.
Having those type of conversations and getting understanding. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's yeah.
So, a couple of other things started just all in my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. And so I think about, like, there are women out there that find pleasure in providing some type of sexual whatever that may be. Like, some women do find pleasure in sucking a man's dick. They like,
Oh yeah.
this is what I do, this is what I like to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
This is a way of how I show you that, like, I care for you, or whatever the case may be. It's a sense of endurement or something of some sort.
Mhm.
um so how is that on the other end, like the woman who has this, because typically what we've been taught, what society has taught us, is that this man ends up having this extreme, appetite.
Mhm.
And have you ever seen where the woman is the one who has the extreme appetite?
Yes. Um, a lot of women have an extreme appetite. And I would say that's in some of the couples that I've worked with, the woman has been the one who's wanting to have sex all the time.
Mm.
The man is the one who's like, you know what, babe, I'm tired. I can go without. and she's not. And so she's the one that's having more of the concerns in that relationship because he
Yeah.
doesn't want to have sex with her anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that affects how she's thinking, like, what is it about me?
Yeah.
And it's not you. It's more so whatever his desire is not there. That whole mismatch, is it mismatch or mixed match?
Yeah.
Mismatch desire is pretty heavy. So it's like she's here, he's here.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of goes the same way when a man is here and the woman is here.
Yeah.
But you would think the man has the higher desire, higher desire. But no, I've come across a lot of women who are the ones who are really wanting to initiate and engage. And again, it goes back to communication. Whenever there's any type of, the first thing I always say, if there's any type of desire or any type of sexual issue,
Yeah.
I always say go see a doctor first.
Okay.
Get yourself checked out physically to see if there's anything that's going on
Yeah.
physically
Yeah.
before you say, I don't want to have sex. Is what's going on
Yeah.
physically.
Yeah.
Get all that stuff checked out first.
Yeah.
And then we'll look at the psychological piece or the mental piece
Yeah.
and see what's going on that end. But as far as with the women, again, just helping them to find that midpoint.
Yeah.
Where is it? What if you're here and he's down here, are you expecting him to come up to your level?
Yeah.
Or are you going to drop down to his level? We have to kind of figure out where is that medium piece
Yeah.
where you're taking baby steps. Maybe he may never get up here.
Mm.
If you got this high desire, he may never get up here.
Mm-hmm.
But he may be able to get right here and do more than what he had been doing before.
Okay.
So it just takes some time with that.
Okay. So there's a question on here. Is there a correlation of age and sexual desire both with men and women?
Hmm. So, like the older women get, the more they want to have sex,
Yeah.
or the younger men are, the more they want to have sex. Well, that whole thing about like a woman's sexual peak, I think it's supposed to be like 35, 40,
Yeah.
somewhere up in
Yeah.
there. That I would say it may be some, I don't want to say truth to it,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of women who are 40, I'm going to say even older than 40, who have this sexual desire. It's like it hasn't really gone anywhere. But some of them, it has more so increased as they got closer to their 50s.
Yeah.
Um, and for men, it seems that theirs have decreased. And I see that at the age 30. That's why I say I can't really say the ages because
Yeah.
I've seen some guys 35 years old who don't want to have sex. They just don't want to do it anymore. The desire is not there. And you would think it should be. There's some guys who are in their late 20s that
Yeah.
like I don't want to have sex. I'm good. So it just depends. I don't know. I blame everything on COVID. Just everything happened when COVID came around and just kind of messed up a lot of things. Um, but it just it's been a shift, and even with the people that I've come into contact with.
Mm.
So I'm seeing there's more younger guys that are not really indulging in any type of sexual activities.
Mm. Wow, that's very interesting.
And,
I wonder if there is any um so I know as a woman, like when we do have sexual partners, there is some, especially if you are into the guy, there is some emotional attachment to that or emotional ties that come with that. So I'm wondering if that's starting to switch, that now we are asking guys to be more in tune with their emotions, to talk to a therapist, and now they're more in tune and understanding the um, importance of it or the non-importance of it right now in a time within their, within their age. I wonder if
mhm,
that has something to do with it.
I think so, because I would say that some of these guys are saying things like, "I'm I must." I'm saving myself for whomever I want to be with.
Mm,
Even though I don't want to have sex with I don't want to have sex with just anybody.
yeah.
I'm not just going to be out here just slinging my thing all around.
Yeah. Slanging.
I mean,
Just
sling,
slanging.
yeah, right. I'm not going to be out here just slinging it all around.
Right.
I can if I want to.
Yeah.
I may sling it a little bit, but I'm not going to just be out there all over the place. And then being more selective
Yeah.
about the women that they want to be with, wanting to have that connection. Want to be with some women that they want to
Yeah.
be able to have those conversations and indulge in other forms of intimacy other than the physical act of intimacy.
Yeah.
So that's some of the things right there.
So men
Yeah.
are real like, and it's not like I say it shockingly, but men
Mhm.
want to have more connection other than,
Yeah.
hey, it's just a physical thing.
Yeah. Now that's not all men.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of
There's
course. Yeah.
there's still some out there who are doing that, and then there's some that are actually looking for that connection.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said something early on that I want to touch on that I think is super important. You talked about the mental piece of it. So
Yeah.
as male gets older, woman gets older, um, what component of mentalness could it have on how you perform sex?
Mm, okay. So when you say that, more so when I think of it, it's more of a with I would say anxiety
Mm,
is one of the things that kind of gets in the way. And I'll just say, as women get older too, of course, there's that whole perimenopausal and the menopausal,
yeah,
all that stuff gets in the way, and that has a huge impact on you too, not just physically but emotionally as well. But when it comes to the mental piece, I come across a lot as anxiety.
mm,
The and it goes back to the worrying about being judged, the worry about performance, the worrying about, like you say, how I smell, how I look, did I
mm,
shave, did I wax, um, how is it hanging, what is it looking like,
yeah,
am I big enough, am I small enough, whatever, am I flexible enough, all these types of things that people will say,
yeah,
you know, am I physically attracted to them anymore,
yeah,
or do I really want to have sex with them, or am I just having sex because they want to have sex?
yeah,
So it's like all those types of things that only create that anxiety. So if it's the anxiety is there, it's going to have an impact on performance.
yeah,
So that's one of the bigger things. And then of course, I mean, some people who are depressed, they're not going to be able to perform
yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
They're depressed. But then there are some people who engage in more sexual activity to help them with their depression,
With their
so
depression.
that they're not feeling as depressed. So they engage in that, and hopefully get to the point of having an orgasm, so that they can
Yeah,
come out of that funk. So it varies across the board.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you said a couple of things. So I've been writing down stuff that I'm thinking
Uh-oh.
about in my brain, like things that I want to. Let's so thinking about couples, because I am married. Like when you think
Mhm.
about exposing yourself and exposing the things that you want to do, what are gentle ways that we can we be gentle with our partner when they do have anxiety or having mental um these different thoughts of like, will I meet my spouse's need, my partner's need, or whatever?
Mhm.
Like, how are ways that we can start to be gentle with one another?
Mhm. Okay. The one thing I would say is, let's say that after a session, I call sexual intercourse, that's a session. When
Yeah.
you have sex, I just call it a session. So let's say that during a session, things aren't going the way that you want them to,
Mm-hmm.
performance is not the best, and then you can see that, and I'm going to say that he is like, oh my gosh, it didn't, man, this never happens, and I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
One thing, do not say something like, what happened there? Is that all you got? Again?
Yeah.
So that's going to make him feel defeated.
Yeah.
And you could just say some things to him and just more so comfort him.
Yeah.
Say, babe, it's okay. We can always try again.
Yeah.
We could do this again. Go ahead and take a little break.
Okay.
We can do this again. You know, don't worry about it. Let's cuddle.
Yeah.
Let's do something else.
Yeah.
Let's see if it builds itself back up.
Yeah.
Let me touch you, or let me kiss you. Let me do these things. We
Yeah.
can still continue with that closeness. It may
Mm.
not be because your penis is no longer erect,
Yeah.
but we can still become close with one another. We can still do this connection.
Yeah.
So whether we're doing a massage, erotic massages,
Mm-hmm.
or just kissing passionately, laying against each other, cuddling, spooning, face to face, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
but not saying anything negative about that.
Mm.
Because, like I said, I'm using that as an example of like when I did my little razzle dazzle, and I was like, how he approached me, how he said that to me
Yeah.
when I thought I was doing all the things, but I
Yeah.
guess he didn't like it, but it's the way he said it. So if he could have said something in a different way, like, babe, whoa, whoa, okay, I see what you're doing. Give me a heads up next time, or anything to just kind of soften the whole situation that
Yeah.
he wasn't ready for that, other than the shock. You just shocked me by
Yeah.
way he expressed himself. So it's more so of knowing that this is the person that you love, for one.
Yeah.
You don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you see that they're disappointed, you're disappointed.
Yeah.
Okay. He already knows you're disappointed because
Yeah.
it's not going where you want it to go. But comfort, do some other things, touching each other, kissing, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And then the next day you can talk about it.
Yeah.
It's because it's not, I would say, having those type of conversations, have them outside the bedroom.
Mm.
When there's problems that are happening,
Mm-hmm.
have them outside the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
You can have it when you're drinking coffee the next day. You can have it while you're eating dinner,
Yeah.
or just talking about anything and then just kind of bringing it up,
Yeah.
because if you're talking about it at that moment, it's not going to make it any better.
Yeah.
You want to be able to get through that moment and just
Yeah.
let them know it's okay.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and try something else and keep it moving.
Okay. Wow.
Hmm.
That's good
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
in that same vein, like thinking about, you were talking about spooning, kissing,
Hmm.
all the things, and I had here written down, I was like, I want her to touch on foreplay. And
Foreplay. Oh,
so,
yeah.
yeah, and I know that, there's different forms of foreplay. So, like, what are you finding in couples and like how they do that foreplay? Like, I know sometimes I just see couples like, different forms of foreplay for them is that they kind of do banter back and forth. And
Hmm.
nobody knows that they're doing this, but that's their own
Hmm.
thing. That is
Hmm.
a sense of creating that environment leading up to later on that night.
Hmm.
Maybe they had a couple
Yeah.
of drinks and that just fed into
Yeah.
all of the drinking they just did. So, like, what are
Yeah.
different forms of foreplay that you see commonly happen with couples?
Hmm. Foreplay, I would say, foreplay can start. Foreplay does not start right before you have sex.
Right, right.
That's not that's it's before sex, but that's not when foreplay starts. And I hear that so much. It's like I can
Mm,
ask a couple of questions. When do you engage in foreplay? Or what is the foreplay?
yeah,
When I touch her thigh and we in the bed,
yeah.
and then I move my hand around and I
Ah,
see if she's wet. I'm like, whoa, okay. Hold on a second.
yeah.
That's You're just getting ready to have sex. That is not foreplay. You're just
Oh,
you're just testing to see what's going on. That's
yeah.
not
Yeah,
foreplay.
yeah, yeah.
I said I said look at foreplay as not it's not a microwave. This is something that you want to boil. Get some water and put it on the stove and let it boil.
Yeah.
And turn it down low and let it simmer. And then as things heat up, turn it up higher. So foreplay can start the day before you have sex.
Mm,
Foreplay can start, man, Monday. It could start on Monday. It could have started Monday, and we gonna engage into something tonight. And it
yeah.
can be, like you say, the bantering back and forth.
Yeah.
It could be something as simple as a gaze. It could be you sending text messages, sexting to one another.
Yeah.
It could be just some playful things that the two of you may do.
Mhm.
It could be, and I tell guys this a lot. I said, women, we are not that difficult. 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 Things that we ask you to do, you may see it as being difficult, but it's something simple.
Yeah.
It just takes some work. It's simple, but it takes some work. I'll just say, for example, like the whole five love languages,
Yeah.
you can incorporate that into like the physical touch. What is it? Physical touch, acts of service,
Words of affirmation,
affirmations,
gifts,
gifts.
and I can't think of the other one.
I always forget something.
Yeah, I do too.
Always forget something.
Yeah.
Always forget something. Words of
Yeah.
affirmation, acts of service. I think maybe
You
I
said
said
acts
that.
of service already. Yeah.
Acts of service, words of affirmation, physical touch,
Gifts.
gifts.
I feel like there's another one.
There
Quality
is
time.
always
Quality time.
quality time. There
Yeah.
we go. So even if you think about, well, you'll say my love language is physical touch.
Yeah.
Okay. Foreplay could be something like a hug, a touch, a grab on your butt cheek, rub your finger on your neck, put your finger on your lips,
Yeah.
whatever, a kiss. That can lead up to foreplay.
Okay.
And you play being playful with that. It's
Yeah.
just flirting and being playful.
Yeah.
Um, Quality time could be us spending time together watching television. We're watching a movie together and
Yeah.
we're cuddling up to one another, talking about things.
Yeah.
That could be foreplay. Reading an erotic book. My whole thing is like I enjoy erotic poetry. So reading erotic poetry,
Yeah.
if you want to write an erotic poem for your lover, write them a poem.
Yeah.
All those things are ways of engaging in foreplay outside of just I'm touching his thigh, he's touching my thigh, let's
Mhm.
get it.
Mhm.
Now sometimes that can be it can be like that.
Yeah.
It can just be that both of y'all are there, touch my thigh, touch your thigh, here we go.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But then sometimes you want things to build up. And if you're able to get things to build up, the better it would be once you actually engage in that.
Yeah.
So having some fun, talking, playing, calling each other up,
Yeah.
and doing little things like that.
So how does a and I want to talk a little bit about this because I know we're getting close to time, and I want to talk about the physical attraction. So,
Mhm.
and I'm thinking about long-term relationships. They're trying to find interesting ways on how to continue to have this spark and um all these different things within, the confounds of this, relationship,
Mhm.
marriage, whatever. Um, for being with someone for so long, and have you ever found couples where they find, because I know you mentioned this early on, is like the physical attraction, how that comes into play as you're doing foreplay, rubbing the thigh, doing all the things. But have you found where couples, either man or woman, that
Mhm.
they found themselves not like being sexually attracted to their partner?
Mhm. Yes, that does happen. That does happen. And with that is usually they've gained weight
Mm,
or they're not taking care of themselves like they used to.
mm-hmm.
Or it could be something as simple as he doesn't bathe as much as I would like him to anymore.
Yeah.
He used to bathe every day. Now he's only doing it once or twice a week.
Oh Lord.
You know, yeah, yes. Oh Lord is right. So it's like finding, wow, that piece right there, that physical attraction. Because I will ask couples that question when
Yeah.
they're not having sex. Like, are you still attracted to them?
Mm,
Are you still attracted? Are you still physically or sexually attracted? Do you even want to have sex with them?
mm.
And sometimes that answer is no, I'm not attracted to them anymore. But they still love them, but
Yeah.
they're just not. That piece right there is gone. And so when that
And
happens, it's
what do you think the cause of that is, Renee? Like,
it could be just a loss of interest along the way.
mm,
And I see this with, I would say, long term relationships. When I say long term, it could be 5 years,
yeah,
it could be 20 years
yeah,
that this happens. Like somewhere along the way, that interest just kind of faded away.
Mm.
They're great friends, but that sexual attraction is no longer there.
Mm.
It's like we're roommates, and that's about it. We get along just fine, but that
Yeah.
sexual attraction
Yeah.
is not there. And so, with that, it just takes more of, with the therapy, finding out what is that root cause. And it's
Yeah.
different for each person. It's
Mm.
different for each person. It could be, I mean, so many different things. Like I say, it could be the physical aspect of things. They're
Mhm.
not taking care of themselves,
Mhm.
or they're not spending time with me as much as they used to.
Yeah.
And now I just, they work so much that I just know they're not going to be here. So
Yeah. I've
I'm
gotten
used to
used to
that.
them. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Right. So I'm used to that now. And then that just kind of fades away. And
Mm.
so trying to bring them back to each other
Yeah.
takes time. And then that takes some work and some other activities that we work on to hopefully get them back together again and engage in some type of intimacy or physical intimacy.
Mhm.
Because everything else is great. It's just that
Yeah.
piece. And it may be that one of them may need to see a therapist individually to
Mhm.
work on themselves to see what's going on.
Mm. So in the interim of the spouse having to, or the other person, partner, who, as they're going through that recovery, what, like, do you encourage like this other person to be like, and I'm speaking for myself, like, go get you a rose, go get you a dildo, go get you some toys, like, and how does toys come into play? Like, I know that's a thing
Yeah,
too. So, like,
yeah,
like, as the other person may be uncovering through this, that, like, hey, I got some mental things going on. Like, you may not get sex for like the next 2 months,
who knows how long?
or
Yeah,
something. Like, what does the other person do? Because there's still some sexual desire. There's still,
yeah,
you still want sex. You still want
yeah.
intimacy in that way. So, like, what are
Mhm.
you, what are you, how are you helping that other person through that?
Even with that, I mean, I have recommended, trying other ways using toys. And I hear this a lot too. Sometimes the toys are okay,
Yeah.
but that connection is not there.
Yeah.
This is, the BOB, battery operated boyfriend
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
okay to get me to
Yeah.
where I gotta go, but I still don't have the connection with
Yeah.
my spouse, my partner.
Yeah.
So that works for some it does not work. And so I encourage them to do other things as far as trying to keep that connection
Yeah.
in hopes of getting to the point where they are intimate. And there's an exercise it's called the sensate focus exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's about touching. So it's just touching one another, starting out like lightly clothed, and you're touching wherever skin is exposed.
Mm.
And you do that for about 10 minutes each. And it's more so, hopefully, will get you more connected. That's the goal, is to get you more connected.
Mm-hmm.
So you start out lightly clothed, touching, and just no talking, and just touching one another. And then you work your way up to, it's like levels to this. So you
Yeah.
work your way up the levels where you're completely naked, touching each other. The goal is not to have sex.
Mm.
The goal is not to try to bring your partner to an orgasm. That
Yeah.
is not the goal. It's all about just touching and connecting. So if you do become aroused, that's great. That's not the goal. The goal is just more so connecting. So with that, it's just more so get them together and realize where, and you may find or they find that there's places on their bodies where they haven't been touched before.
Mm.
So it's like just doing those type of activities just to get them closer together to talk. And eventually it does lead to a sexual activity for some of them. Some of them it never does. And they
Mm.
just still continue to be those roommates.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes some work. And if they're
Mm-hmm.
not there, they're just not there. And I'd say, well, this is your new normal of being the greatest roommates and that sex is not there.
Yeah.
Where do you go from here?
Yeah.
And they have to make that decision. Yeah.
Yeah. There was, oh gosh, there was something that came to mind as you were talking, thinking about the physical touch, like the skin. Um, and even though you may not be a physical touch person, that may not be your love language. What is the importance if a woman is listening or a man is listening, like,
Mhm.
what's the significance of that skin to skin? It's almost like a baby and the mom. You know what I mean? Like, that's what comes to
Oh,
mind, like how important that
yeah.
is. So, like, what's the
Mhm.
significance of it now that we're in a relationship, we've grown with one another to still have
Mhm.
that skin to skin?
Skin to skin is good. It feels good. You feel connected. You
Hmm.
feel wanted. You
Yeah.
feel just that. I can't think of the word, but it's just more comforting. It's like this thing. If you what's it called? Skin hunger, touch hunger. It's you like people like to, well, not all people,
Hmm.
but to be touched. That shows that somebody cares about you.
Mm.
Now, what other way can you show that with someone that you are in this relationship with? If you, okay, you and your husband, if y'all don't touch each other for the whole week,
Hmm.
how would that make you feel? No touching at all. If he doesn't
Yeah.
touch you at all, or
Yeah.
you don't touch him, think about how you're going to feel.
Yeah.
But then when you pull him in and get that hug from him, how's that going to feel?
Yeah.
Look, you got a smile already just thinking about it. So it's like, I just, this little smile just
Because
kind
it
of
is
goes,
something. Because it is something about it. Like when you get the bear hug, or when you get the
yeah,
grab on your butt, or when you get,
mm,
grazed, or your partner grabs your hand and just
yeah,
holds you tight. Like a lot of those things play into like the foreplay and the
mhm,
physical touch, the skin to skin, the connection, the intimacy, and there's so much energy that comes from
yeah,
that. So when there's lack thereof, and then you want to go into the bed and be like rubbing, and all of a sudden now you want to have sex, it's kind of like
yeah.
you ain't revved
I'm
the
touching your
car.
thigh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you ain't warm up the car. So now all of a sudden you
yeah,
want the car to give you,
yeah,
1,000 or horsepower, but you ain't even
yeah,
revved up the car. And I
yeah,
know there's other things like into that, like of course when you have, um like outside of being married, being single, you
mhm,
have those one time, like, oh my gosh, like they just send you on 10, like they don't have to do
yeah,
nothing. They can just look at you and all of a sudden you're fired up and things like that.
yes,
But like when you think about the couples in long term relationship, like as you grow to know this person, your body is changing, especially if you have after you
mm,
have kids. Like we didn't even talk about
yeah,
that, like
yeah,
having kids and the difference that it does to the anatomy of the woman's body, or
yeah.
even when you may have a miscarriage, all the
Oh
things,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
all of a sudden now you're not getting it as much as you used to, because
yeah.
there's certain things that have happened to this woman's body. But
Oh
also there's
yeah.
certain things now that I don't want what you gave to, in
Hmm.
the beginning when you got the kids. Now I want, I need
Right.
a little something else.
Something else. That's
Yeah.
right. That's the thing. Things change. Your wants and desires may change
Yeah.
as you get older, or I'm not going to say as you get older, as you move along,
Yeah.
things change. What
Yeah.
you like when you was 22, like don't come to me with that
Yeah.
now. I
Yeah.
want something totally different at this point. So it's more of you're just evolving
But
and
how do
becoming
you keep,
a better
so I'm
person.
going to ask this last question, but how do you keep the walls and the door, like keep the communication going when you think
Mhm.
about, okay, we're changing, we're going on this, journey, and things
Mhm.
sexually change for one another. How are
Mhm.
you helping couples be vulnerable about those things? Like I know we talked about the exercise, but sometimes some couples may feel uncomfortable talking
Yeah.
about these things because they never had to. It wasn't an
Mhm.
issue. All the
Mhm.
flames and the fire and all the things were there, so it was never an issue. Now
Mhm.
you're a kid in, and mom dies, or you're trying again, and this time you miscarry. Like all the different things. Like,
Yeah.
how are you helping couples to be vulnerable in that space?
Mhm. With that, I would say you have to having some type of check-ins with one another,
Mm,
just checking in with one another, seeing how if something were to happen, I'll say something major happened, or maybe something minor may have happened in their relationship or in their life. Let's say someone had a car accident,
yeah.
and like checking in. How are you feeling? Not just physically, but emotionally too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of times it's like that communication, because when I say this, as far as relationships, long-term relationships, it's like they should know how I feel. They
Mm.
know we've been together this long. They should know how I feel.
Yeah.
No, they don't know how you feel. You can assume that they know, and they can assume as to what you're feeling. But how are you really feeling? How are you really feeling?
Mm-hmm.
So just keeping that check in once a week, just have a conversation about whatever once a
Yeah.
week and being vulnerable. And that whole thing about vulnerability, it requires trust, and
Mm-hmm.
trust is needed in order to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that trust has to be there. You have to be able to trust your partner, trust your spouse
Mm-hmm.
enough to share that with them. But if
Mm-hmm.
there's been something that and it could be one little thing that they may have done
Mm-hmm.
that has kind of, you know, I wouldn't say damaged that trust, but
Yeah.
kind of like pushed it down a little bit,
Yeah.
because they may have said something about, like, let's say you like your feet massaged or you like for your toes to be sucked.
Yeah.
But he may have said something about your toenail polish one time that made you feel like,
Listen.
okay, now he talking
Listen.
about my toes. So now
Yeah.
I can't even tell him this anymore.
Yeah.
I've been holding on to this whole thing about him not liking my toenail polish because it was chipped. So that means he don't want to suck my toe,
Yeah.
or he never will suck my toe.
Yeah.
That's why I say keep those. That communication has to be there.
Yeah.
Have those check-ins. Talk about those things.
So, but like when you think about the trust factor, you're bringing up so much. I'm like, oh my gosh. But like when you think about the trust, like you're in a relationship, you've been doing life with each other for so many years, and there is some type of trust that breaks where you don't feel safe enough to tell your partner, I want to be able to lick your booty hole. Like the only reason why
Yeah,
that just come to mind is because I saw some TikTok about it and guys were talking about it.
yeah,
Like, I told my girl I like licking booty holes, whatever.
yeah.
So, like, but I don't feel safe enough to tell you that because
Mhm.
because I've given you a little piece of this area and you showed me, oh, like, the negative commentary, oh, you're a freak. Oh,
Oh
like
yeah,
that. And so that
yeah.
it brings up this wall, and now I don't trust you in that space. So now you're asking me to go through sex therapy to talk about, but they don't
Mhm.
feel, even though they still don't feel safe enough to talk about it. How
Mhm.
how are you helping couples through, some of that?
Even with that, it goes back to, man, so much.
I know.
Depending, yeah, just depending on what. Okay, since you talk about booty holes, it
Ah,
could be something.
TikTok gave it to me.
Okay, since you talking about booty holes, it may be something that. Why is that something that I cannot talk about? Because it's taboo.
Yeah.
There's this whole taboo behind that. And I know that if I say this to my partner that I want them to do this, how are they going to see me? It goes
Yeah.
back to that whole judgment thing. And
Yeah.
that's when and you may get judged. That's the thing. They
Oh
may
gosh.
judge you, and that doesn't feel good,
Yeah.
but it's going to be that initial shock once again. Okay, this is what you want,
Yeah.
especially if a man tells his woman
Yeah.
that I don't want my booty hole touched, or I want you to do whatever to my booty hole.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If a
Yeah.
guy says that, it's like, whoa, hold on a second.
Who you don't let?
What,
What
yeah,
what activity you been
yeah.
engaging with?
What have you been doing? And the thing is, it's like you have to, I shouldn't say have to, it's important to check yourself.
Mm.
What is it about you that you have this negative feeling about something like that?
Yeah.
That taboo, yes, it's a taboo type of thing, but why is it a taboo for you?
Yeah.
Why did you connect whatever taboo or whatever belief that you have
Yeah.
to that activity?
Mhm.
So it's more of again, that communication. And that communication is what it has. It has to happen in situations like that.
Yeah.
And it's not the easiest type of discussion to even have. How can you even start that conversation? Not in the
Bae.
bedroom.
Right, bae.
Yeah.
I want you to lick my booty hole.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, okay. You're like, well, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like it's the
That's
opposite, it's the opposite side. Okay, so like if the woman
yeah.
is like, "Hey babe, I want you to lick my booty hole."
Mhm.
Then there is the opposite where the guy is like, "Babe, babe, you know what I like to see on you?
Mhm.
I want to see you wear some blonde hair. Go ahead and put that. Go ahead
Mhm.
and do that. And then I want you to wear this
Mhm.
lingerie with it too." That's
Mhm.
the woman is just like, what
Like,
porn video
really?
you been watching or what little
Yeah.
sister you done seen that all of a sudden now
Yeah.
you want me to wear, you know what I mean? Like there's still some
Blonde hair.
negative comment,
Mhm.
there's some negativity with that too, as a woman to be
Yeah.
like, where you get that from?
Yeah. Yeah. Where'd you get that from? And that's the thing. And and that is I mean, that's a fair question. It's a common question. Where'd you get
Yeah.
that from? And it's like I just got it from here because this is something I wanted to try, and I'm trusting you enough.
Mm,
I have enough trust in you that I can share this with you.
mm,
And
okay.
so if they have enough trust to share that with you, it takes a lot to get that to that place of vulnerability like that.
Yeah.
So if I'm able to do that, then listen. You might say, okay. Um,
Um,
Let me think about that. Let me think about this for a moment. Let me think about this. Let me do some research. Tell me more about where's this coming from?
do you feel like
Why me?
Renee, that men feel more open to talk about this versus women, or is it vice versa?
Depending on what it is.
Mm, okay.
Depending on what it is. Depending on what it is. Um, and I would say as a therapist, I mean, I hear so much stuff. So it's like they feel comfortable enough to talk to me, both men and women,
Yeah.
to share some things.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm at a point right now. I say nothing surprises me,
Yeah.
but sometimes some things do. I'm like, whoa, wait, really? I didn't know that was a thing. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's that's
yeah.
that's the type of thing. Like I didn't. Wow, I've never heard of that. I didn't know that was a thing. I gotta do some research
Okay,
so I can know
listen.
more about
That,
this.
listen, it's some new
So it's
razzle
like,
dazzle.
yeah, that was some razzle dazzle for you right there.
Yeah.
My
Yeah,
little
yeah,
razzle
yeah.
dazzle. But it's more of just it just depends on what it is,
Yeah.
and also depends on the person and their upbringing, their beliefs,
Yeah.
because you're bringing so much in.
Yeah.
And even like, and I would say with couples, have some of these conversations before you even get to the point of being deep into a relationship.
Yeah.
Talk about whatever your sexual desires are. If there's something for you that's a deal breaker, or
Yeah.
if you can't do this,
Somebody, nah, dog, we not doing that. I ain't gonna be able to do it. Nah,
then we can't be
we
together
can't be together. 'Cause
because
I ain't even,
right,
ain't nothing gonna convince me to go on ahead and do that.
yeah,
Nah.
right. And so unless you say, okay, fine, you're never gonna do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
then is that something I can live without? Maybe, maybe not. Then that's what a decision you have to make.
Yeah.
At least you know what it is in the beginning.
Do you ever find, okay, so, okay, I feel like I'm saying one more question, but do you ever find that couples have gone out the box, like doing spontaneous things, like maybe doing it in the woods or in the car, or and is that a part of like, hey, let's try this to see if this
Mhm.
brings excitement into the marriage or into the relationship? And what is that about? Like, is it more excitement, mystery, or having more fun in the marriage? And have you ever found
Mhm.
that the couple, the partner is like, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing it outside. I'm not doing it
Mhm.
in the car. No, I'm not
Mhm.
sucking your dick in the closet. No, I'm not
Mhm.
fucking you in the closet. It ain't happening. Like,
Mhm.
and like, how are you helping as a therapist, a sex therapist, helping couples to be like, yo, yo.
Yeah, there's sometimes that does happen. And again, I would always say, maybe you don't want to do it in the closet.
Yeah.
Could you just do it in the kitchen by the stove,
Period.
someplace else? You don't want to be in the closet. What is the reason? Maybe it's because the closet is too small.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Let's take it in the kitchen. You get all kinds of space. Well, I don't want to do it in the kitchen by the stove. Okay, then do it by the refrigerator. Find someplace else to do these things. There's always a modification
Yeah.
of doing things. And I always say, make it your own. Figure out what is it that you want to do. How
Hmm.
can the two of you come together
Hmm.
and do those things? You don't want to have sex outside in the car? Okay, so can we go in the backyard?
Period.
Can
Period.
we go in the balcony? We'll put some sheets and set it up and make it look secluded, and we're still outside.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
We can do it in the back of the truck. Just jump in the back of the cab and lay out in the
Just do it.
moonlight somewhere and just do it.
Period.
It's more of just being creative
Yeah.
and having fun. And I encourage that actually. If you're able to,
Yeah.
have some fun. I always say be safe, have fun, make sure it's legal,
Yeah.
whatever you're doing, and just consensual
Yeah.
and have your fun and that's it. And just do all the things that you can do.
Listen, Renee, thank you so much. Listen, for all of y'all who are watching, have fun. Like have fun.
Have fun. Yeah.
Create the fun. And if you are tuning in later on to the tail end of this live, like listen to the beginning. There was a great exercise for couples, and we talked about a gambit of different things. And so, Renee, thank you so much for joining me. I know we went over, but this was such a great conversation. And for my
Mhm.
viewers, if y'all want to see Renee come back and there's other questions that you thought I didn't ask, like please let me know, comment, put it in the comments, all the things. But Renee, if somebody wanted to book you, like how can they get in contact with you? And do you have any upcoming events that are going to be happening anytime soon?
Well, yes, they can reach me. Let's see. Let's see. What do I have? I will. I can't drop it in there because I don't want to.
Let's see,
Maybe
go
I
for it. I
can.
could type it in. Let's see if I could type this in.
Okay.
Hold on. Here we go. Go for it.
I'm going to give you my. If I can get off the screen. If they want to know more about what's coming up in the
Mhm.
future and things like that, of any speaking events, any type of um, workshops and things like that, I'm working on something and should be coming up real soon.
Okay.
And also, if they want a T-shirt, this right here, it says "It's not free kids freedom" with the little handcuffs. I
Yes.
have those available as well. And basically, you can find me and sign up under my email page, my email group, so that you'll get all the updates.
Hmm.
And that is, let's see, it's a tiny URL. So tiny tinyurl.com
Is it all together
forward slash
dot? Is it tiny dot URL?
just tinyurl.com
Okay.
forward slash
Hmm.
INFIF for It's Not Freaky, It's Freedom.
So INF.
IF
Okay.
up, updates.
I just posted it. Let's see if it
INFIF.
showed right.
Yep, that's
That's
that.
it right there.
tinyurl.com. It's Not Freaky, It's Freedom. Updates. Yes, .com. I'm sorry. Nope, that's it. That's it. No .com.
Okay. Okay.
And that should be able to get you there. And
Awesome.
yeah,
This
and then
was
that
so
way.
great, Renee. And one of my watchers just said, "Great show. This was so great."
Ah,
And like I said, thank you so much. I appreciated the conversation. I know there was moments I
yeah.
cut you off, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, there's so
No,
much." But
no.
I appreciate it. I know I'll have you back on the show. There's probably so much other things that will need to be talked about and need to come up. And
Mhm.
thank you all for those who watched us live, and for those who will watch the replay. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you for
Yeah.
joining us. And I will see y'all next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, I have a speaker. It is going to be my nail technician. And she is going to be talking about, as a young entrepreneur who is a mom, a wife, but got into a place of, I don't know if I just don't know if I want to do nails anymore. And she's going to talk about her journey in regards to her having to get her visa and just different things that came with being a woman, young
Mm.
entrepreneur, being here since she was 18, and then having to be challenged with, oh, now you need to go get your visa. And she's been working and things like that. So that's a whole thing, and we're going to share that, because I know I have women who are entrepreneurs who get to a place where they're like, all these operations, it kind of takes away the creativity of what the reason why you started becoming an entrepreneur in the first place. So we're going to talk about that. But thank y'all so much for joining us today, and I will see y'all here for Bold Conversations next Wednesday at 6:30 Central Standard Time. Thank you so much for joining.